overstuffed cream armchair. Mom! Rachael appeared, long blonde hair flying, torso encased in a tidy uniform that didn't quite disguise her curves. At 18, she had her mother's height and lean build, but her father's excitability. "Hi, Uncle Frank. What took you so long? You look nice," she added, taking in Theresa's black skirt and somewhat styled hair. "Court," that allowed her to explain both. "What's going on?" Showing a new sense of discretion along with her uniform, Theresa's daughter looked around and lowered her voice before speaking. "A guy called from the presidential suite and said there's a woman murdered there, and it's really gross and bizarre. She's all tied up and there's blood everywhere." "Did you see this body?" Theresa asked, dreading the answer. Dead bodies were her job, not her daughter's. Never her daughter's. "No, I was going to go up, but Shauna was on break and I couldn't leave the desk." Theresa felt herself making one of those mother faces. "Rachael, I just thought I'd check it out. You know how you always say dispatch calls you and tells you there's blood all over the place, and then you get there and there's like 3 drops? So I wanted to go make sure it was really worth getting Carla out of the housekeeping meeting, but like I said, I couldn't leave the desk alone, so I did get Carla. She's the GM, general manager, and she went up. Then I guess she called you guys because she didn't call us back." Rachael didn't seem upset or even shaken, only stirred by this great drama, her hands fluttering as she spoke. The guest had taken his bag and departed, while the other young woman at the front desk studied Rachael's mother with great intensity, no doubt having heard about her line of work. Rachael went on. "Carla said there's a ton of blood, and William says that they can't figure out how she got in there, and get this." "Theresa!" A homicide detective she recognized crossed the heavy carpet toward them. John Powell had thinning black hair and a layer of doughy fat under the skin on his face, but his body looked tough enough. He carried a small camera and a notebook, which left no hands for shaking. He glanced at Frank without much welcome, and at Rachael with more, taking her in from toe to chest so skillfully that Theresa might have missed the absently sweeping look. She didn't. "Thanks for coming," he said to her. "We have a woman in the luxury suite. She—" Another glance at Rachael. "I'll fill you in on the way." "This is my daughter," Theresa said. He nodded without interest, apparently scanning the teenager was simple male reflex, and then spoke to Frank. "What are you doing here, Patrick? Doesn't she go anywhere without you?" "Good morning to you too, Powell. I'm just tagging along," Frank said, controlling the bristle. He and Theresa had worked a lot of cases together, and those cases always seemed to be the insane ones. It had become a stereotype. Each detective in the homicide unit had a theory about this, that they were unlucky, or lucky, cursed, or somehow cheating. "Anything to get out of court," he told Powell now. "Well, you need to stay outside the tape unless you're assigned. No sense cluttering up the contamination checklist with rubberneckers, and there's going to be a lot of them," he added with a sigh. The mild belligerence leaked out of him, deflating his shoulders. "This is going to be a cluster." "Stay here," Theresa told Rachael, eliciting a groan of protest, and followed Powell to the elevators. But 2 hotel guests got into the car with them, precluding conversation during the trip. Instead, Theresa's introduction came about in the form of an array of bright halogen lights set up outside the double doors to the tastefully marked presidential suite and a small army of policemen, hotel managers, and 2 EMS responders. They were not needed, but lingered anyway, and no one wanted to create the bad blood that would surely result from kicking them out. Frank remained with them, firmly on the civilian side of the crime scene tape, no doubt gnashing his teeth. Theresa stepped into the presidential suite behind Detective Powell. The trail began inside the double doors, only a few scattered stains across the fawn carpet. They could have been mistaken for dirt by someone not so familiar as she was with the black-red color of dried blood. Powell stopped to talk to another man, but she